Hey everybody, welcome back to Jimmy It's Promo, and today we're going to take a look at the latest software update when it comes down to the Galaxy S23 series. Now this is the update that I've been waiting for quite a while. This is a very large update, especially when it comes down to those monthly security patches. You can see that this size here is 914 megabytes. Normally each monthly security patch is right around 200 or 300 megabytes, but this one's giving us a bunch of fixes and updates, especially when it comes down to the camera. There's about 6 or 7 updates and fixes to the camera itself with this update. Now, other countries have already received this update starting about 7 to 10 days ago. United States started seeing this update being pushed out yesterday and also today. So again, it's going to be the April 1st security patch. The size is 914 megabytes, which usually each monthly security patch is right around 200 or 300 megabytes. And this version ends in AWC8. Now on the top, it doesn't really give you much details, but I'm going to give you pretty much everything here in this video right after we get this update done. So security says the device is protected with improved security. A software update can include but not limited to device stability improvements, bug fixes, new and or enhanced features, and then further improvements to performance. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get this thing installed, and then I'm going to show you and talk to you about everything that's changing in terms of the camera, talking about fixing focus issues, talking about banding issues, talking about if you use third-party applications like, let's say, Zoom or some type of a Google chat or Messenger video, and when you turn off your display, if you try to unlock your device with facial recognition, sometimes it doesn't work if you were using a third-party app that was just using the camera. So basically they fixed that and a whole bunch of other things. We'll take a look at, let's say, the gallery, the camera, the home, as well as internet, and we'll also go inside of the Galaxy App Store because I believe there should be an update to Camera Assistant giving you a few more abilities. But it's usually at this point in the video I like to state that if you're brand new here at the channel Jimmy Is Promo, you appreciate these tips, tricks, tutorials, and the latest information on your Samsung Galaxy devices. Make sure you guys hit on that subscribe button as well as the bell for notifications so you get notified for all future videos. So the update is done and complete. So what I'm going to do first is just to take a look at a few different applications to see if they had updates. Then we're going to go inside of pretty much all of the entire changelog to see what has been changed and updated in terms of what was critical, high, or moderate. We'll also take a look at basically my entire gallery of what these updates consisted of. So if I was to scroll on down, I have pretty much every single thing talking about everything new with this camera update. So we'll also talk about that as well. So let's first take a look at Samsung Home. So before this update, the version used to be 14.1021. This one's now 14.10347. So if you had any issues with your home screen beforehand, so maybe if you're trying to swipe down to get to the notifications panel, or if you're pressing and holding and you weren't seeing your little icon bounce or anything like that, maybe some of those issues have been fixed. Now we're going to take a look at the camera. So this is really where a lot of the update kind of went to. So the version used to be 13.10117. This is now 13.10128. So it looks like a newer version for the camera, which was obvious with this one because there's about 6 or 7 different improvements or fixes. Then we're going to take a look at Samsung Internet, which I am now kind of playing with more just to kind of test it to give it a comparison versus Google Chrome. But Samsung Internet version used to be 20.065. So it looks like this is the exact same version, 20.065. So no newer version of Samsung Internet. Now we're going to take a look at the gallery. So before this update, we were sitting at 14.1031. 14.1031. So it looks like the first 2 that we took a look at, there was updates. The last 2 we took a look at, there wasn't. So now what we're going to do is let's first talk about what is most important with this update, which is everything with the camera. So here are the improvements. So they improved the video stabilization when the resolution is set to full HD, 60 frames per second, and the auto frames per second setting is turned off. And this is while you're using the rear-facing camera. So that has been fixed, or at least they improved it. Samsung has also solved that image quality issue when the night mode is turned off. And the Camera Assistant app is set to the following setting, which is speed shooting, or shooting speed, high resolution, speed priority. Now, the next improvement is the banding issue that appeared in the sky in mid-low ambient light and when using resolutions such as that 50 megapixel or 200 megapixel. So overall, the sharpness has improved in the 50 megapixel and 200 megapixel modes. Samsung has also solved the intermittent blurring issue by enhancing the OIS performance, so the optical image stabilization. So when you go inside of your camera, and let's say we take a look at that. So let's say that we go inside of the camera, you're inside of the photo, and on the top, when you take a look at this, if you were to switch it over to that 50 megapixel or 200 megapixel, and if you're taking a picture of, let's say, like the sky, I was trying to see if I could maybe try to get some banding in here, but basically if you take a picture of the sky and you want it to look just clear as what you see, but then you start seeing little bands in the image afterwards, that is what they have improved. The next improvement is going to be an improvement in the gallery app, which allows you to immediately delete photos that were just captured and are getting processed. Now, not every single photo that you take needs to have some type of processing time. So if I go up over here, I tap that, I hit the gallery, I hit on delete, and then now I'm able to get it all deleted. Now, what it's really kind of talking about there is anytime that you wanted to maybe do a portrait or anything else that there is more processing that needs to be done, you're able to get it deleted right away. Because a lot of times when you take a picture of something and it takes a second for it to kind of show up and process, which a lot of times is going to be portrait, then you're able to actually delete it immediately without it having to, do its full process. So we'll see if I can get that done right here. We're going to hit in gallery, and then now we can hit delete. So you can see in that image right there, right away, I don't know if you're able to catch it, but it was starting to kind of circle and start to process. You can now actually get it deleted immediately. So let's go through some of the rest of the updates. Samsung has improved the stability of the camera app when the frame has moving objects. Fixed the bug when sometimes displayed a green line on the left side when using the rear-facing camera in photo mode. So if you've ever ran into an issue of a little green line on the left side, they have now improved and fixed that. The camera issue where face recognition didn't work after ending a video call using a third-party app has also been solved. So if you're using any third-party application when it comes down to video chats, it doesn't matter what you use, if it's Zoom or anything else, Google Meet, what would happen is, let's say that you're in a meeting or you're having a video chat with your friend or family, and then basically your screen turns off. The next time that you're able to basically try to unlock, beforehand, this was not registering. It was not trying to pick up your face recognition because it was just getting done using an application, using the video. And for some reason, it just kind of canceled it out until you had to put in any other credentials. If it was your fingerprint, PIN, password, whatever it is, after you put that in and then you left and you came back, then it would work. So it looks as if they have fixed that issue. And that's pretty much everything that they have done for the camera. So, that was 6 or 7 different things that we talked about just right now. Let's also take a look inside of the Galaxy Store because I want to see if we have any updates, because a lot of times when your phone updates to its latest security patch or whatever that monthly security patch is, when you go inside of updates, you might see that there's some there. Now, in some areas or regions or some types of phones, you might see Camera Assistant sitting right here. And you want to hit that one and get that one updated because there are a few different, additional things that they added in. So when you go inside of Camera Assistant, you'd be able to possibly see, if you've never seen it from before, but the auto lens switching. So this might be for some of the older Samsung devices like the S22 or the S21. You can also have this option right here, which is prioritize focus over speed. So this one is one that I've noticed that is new with this phone right here. I didn't see this one before this update. So it just says right here, wait for the camera to finish focusing before triggering the shutter. This may delay the shutter slightly. Now, here's the thing. This is the way that Samsung phones have always operated. They have always operated to the fact of, always being the top of the line camera in any smartphone, because they always made sure that they waited for the focus to be there, then it took the photo, which would delay the shutter speed. And some people thought that that was something that wasn't, great. They were like, hey, why is it taking an extra millisecond for the photo to take? It's because it's trying to get the best photo possible, which is right here. So after this update, what'll happen is by default, your camera is going to basically just try to take pictures quicker, because that is the meme these days, I guess. Now with this update, you can now put it right back to default where it used to be with all Samsung phones. Prioritize focus over speed. You can now turn this on. But again, other Samsung devices might not have seen this option right here inside of the camera assistant. You also have quick tap shutter, so you can take pictures as soon as your finger touches the shutter button instead of waiting for you to lift off. So you can turn this one on as well. So basically, the moment you tap that little shutter button, that's when it takes the picture, not when you lift off. But when you have this one turned on, it's still going to prioritize that focus over speed. Here's that capture speed right here. If you want to also change some of these here, again, I have mine as for regular resolutions, prioritize quality. For high resolution, you can have pretty much any of these options here, which is faster capture or faster post processing. So that's kind of how I have mine set up. And then you also have these ones down here. You know, you can dim the screen while recording. So after 1 minute of no input, it's going to dim the screen, which is great. As you're recording, it'll just dim it if you're recording for 2 or 3 minutes, so it doesn't have to have a bright display on, taking your battery down. You have your camera timeout. So my phone's timeout is usually around 2 minutes. So if I'm in my camera will time out after a minute, and then my phone will time out the next minute. And you can also have a timer right here for multiple photos. So you can have it to where when you have your timer set up, it'll take 3 pictures, 5 or 7. And you can also change the intervals in between these pictures here. So you can have 3 seconds in between each of these three images if you want. So I'm going to put mine at 2 seconds, 3 pictures. So that was already there inside of Camera Assistant, but these are the two main ones up here, which is the auto lens switching for older Samsung devices. And then for the newer one right here, prioritize focus over speed. So now that we talked about everything new with the camera, we took a look at a few applications that had their updates. We also took a look at Camera Assistant in the Galaxy Store. Now let's take a look at all of the updates that happened with this one. We're going to take a look at the full entire changelog that's kind of hidden in the background. We're going to see what was high and moderate and critical. So basically, you just want to go inside of your About phone. And then inside of your About phone, you want to go to Software Information. And on the bottom, you just tap on Android Security Patch. Now, I know that there might be a few devices out there that won't be able to allow this. You know, maybe if you're using a carrier locked phone, this one might be kind of blocked, but here we go. We're going to go inside of the Android Security Bulletin. We're going to read everything that's new. And so because we have a Samsung phone, we're going to go inside of Samsung. And then right here, you can see we have that April patch of 2023. And so you can just scroll down here. We're going to take a look at, we're reading the maintenance bulletin here. For critical, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 criticals. For high, I mean, this is about 50 of them here. Looks like we have 1 moderate, not applicable. There's about 4 or 5 of them. That's not applicable to Samsung phones. Samsung semiconductor patch is also included in the security maintenance patch. And there's 1 right there that is underneath moderate. So let's see here. So I'm just going to scroll down. We have 1 that has a severity of high. Now scrolling through, I'm not really finding anything that's giving us like the details. I mean, there was 1 for smart suggestions, which was underneath high, 1 that was moderate inside of telephony. We also saw 1 that was for Exynos, something about a certificate policy. So I'm not really seeing anything that would really kind of give us good details for the normal everyday, you know, consumer of the device. But that right there was a full list of all of the patches and all of the fixes. So most of them are going to be high. There's only about 4 critical. We have 1 that's moderate. So that's pretty much everything that I want to talk about in today's video. The biggest thing is going to be doing this update because of not only all of those critical patches that we just saw, but because of all of the fixes inside of the camera, especially if you're taking pictures of the sky, especially if you're using anything where you want to delete something as it's processing, especially if you use something that's at 50 megapixel or 200 megapixel, and you have some like focus issues or some of the banding issues. If you want to take pictures of something in the sky, like if you're taking a picture at night of the stars with astrophotography, or if you're taking a picture during the day with an airplane and you're trying to zoom in, but then you have all these lines that weren't there with your human eye, but they're here on the camera, those are now gone. And if you do want to find where your latest update was, so let's say you just got done doing an update, just go inside your settings, go to software update, and you go to your last update. You can see exactly when you did it, the date, the time, and exactly what also was new, the size, and everything else, in case if you haven't remembered the last time that you updated your phone. But that's pretty much everything for today's video. Hopefully you guys appreciated it. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe on the very bottom left hand side. And if you like this video, then more than likely you'll also like this video. And I'll see you guys later.